The following is a presentation of the Telecast Production Group and was seen nationwide on CNBC, the NBC cable network.
Welcome to Profiles of America. During today's program, we'll catch a glimpse of the future as we look through the eyes of a computer industry leader. According to Apple Computer Incorporated, several giant industries are on a collision course that will produce an entirely new generation of devices and businesses. The giants are computers, telecommunications, consumer electronics, media, publishing, and many others, which will converge to form the digital information industry. Apple executives refer to it as a mega industry, and they intend to be a major player in this industry's most promising segment, mobile computing. If Apple's predictions come true, mobile computing will bring us a world that was once thought possible only through science fiction. Today, we'll learn about the mobile products designed to revolutionize the way we work and the way we play. As correspondent Van King reports, Apple's vision for a mobile world began during the 1980s.
In 1987, Apple Computer presented a concept for an imaginary device known as the Knowledge Navigator. Apple challenged us to picture a world in which intelligent devices actually assist us in getting our work done, anticipate our needs, and remember our habits.
Today, you have a faculty lunch at 12 o'clock. You need to take Kathy to the airport by 2. You have a lecture at 4:15 on deforestation in the Amazon rainforest.
Right. Let me see the lecture notes from last semester. No, that's not enough. I need to review more recent literature. Pull up all the...
Today, we can only imagine the tremendous effect such a device would have on our lives. Almost like an electronic personal secretary, it could link you up to everything in your office, no matter where you are. Your spreadsheets, your databases, your Rolodex. Or on a more personal level, it could arrange for a night out on the town, making reservations for dinner, the theater, even finding a babysitter. Such a device may seem like a figment of Jules Verne's imagination or direct from Captain Kirk's flight deck, but it may not be as far off in the future as you might think, says John Scully, the chairman and chief technical officer of Apple Computer.
Well, it's absolutely true that back in 1987, when I first wrote about the Knowledge Navigator, many people thought it was an outrageous idea. It was talking about a fantasy of the future that couldn't possibly happen anytime soon. Turns out that's not the case. It's only a few years later, and we're very close to being able to bring some of those technologies to the market in products. In fact, we're working on products today inside of Apple, which will incorporate many of the most important ideas inside the Knowledge Navigator. So I think it's not unrealistic to expect over the next several years that we'll start to see the first generations of the Knowledge Navigator.
By building on the success of the Macintosh technology, Apple Computer intends to grow from a single product business, namely desktop systems, to a multi-sector business, which includes mobile systems.
The mobile computing industry is geared towards serving a world of people who are constantly on the move. It's not what you do at a desk, but what you do away from a desk that's becoming increasingly more important.
This has a tremendous opportunity, I think, for mobile products. And we just know that over the next 5 to 10 years that there are going to be many new exciting tools or products for the mobile executive, which are going to give them the ability to not only be paged and be able to call up with a voice device like a cellular telephone, but more importantly, to be able to access information, carry out transactions, be able to do things much more rapidly, because productivity is going to be measured by how quickly and flexible we are as organizations.
During the summer of 1992, Apple began demonstrating a new kind of mobile computing device known as Newton. With a nationwide launch in 1993, Newton is Apple's first example of an information assistant, a pocket-sized mobile computing device that can be used for work, personal organization, entertainment, education, and communicating with people around the world. It can understand handwriting, anticipate users' desires, and perform many functions on its own. Apple calls such a device a Personal Digital Assistant, or PDA.
Well, we knew it wasn't a personal computer because the concept of a personal computer was built around the idea of a tool for the mind. And I think what we're doing now is saying, let's build in some intelligence as an assistant inside of this device, which will do things in the background that you don't even have to think about. Let's recognize that it's only possible because the world is going digital. It's a new generation of technology, and of course we want it to be personal, if not intimate. So you put those ideas together, a personal, digital, and assistant, and you get the Personal Digital Assistant, or PDA.
The potential uses for Newton are many. Here's just one example.
What Newton's designed to do is let people capture information, and that means things like taking notes in a meeting. So you simply just use the pen, write directly on the screen, and it interprets your handwriting and puts it into regular text. And then it organizes information by having it built-in applications. And then it communicates in the standard way people communicate, things like faxing. And to fax, all you do is simply write fax, and then the person's name, in this case John, right onto the notepad, and then it takes that and faxes it off to a standard fax machine. So what you do is you take your notes and you put it in here. We've built intelligence into this product to look at your notes and make it into a business letter for you. So what it does is it looks at your text and lays it out on a full 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, looks at the person's name you're faxing it to, puts their return address at the top, puts my address at the top, dates the letter, and then sends it off.
Newton has been called the first tangible glimpse of a vision of technology's future, a vision now shared by many of the world's biggest high-technology companies.
I think that Newton may well be an important turning point for us because the whole way in which we work is changing dramatically. And what Newton technology will allow people to do is to be able to work in very flexible, very independent ways from being anchored back at their desktop. It's very much designed for the non-technologist, just like the telephone is for a non-technology person. You're not even aware the technology is there. It's very much designed for the person on the move. When they need something, they want to be able to get it immediately. That's what Newton does.
For 2 years running now, Apple personal computers have received the highest marks in overall customer satisfaction by business users, according to nationwide surveys by J.D. Powers & Associates. With high scores in the ease of use category, Apple tallied a satisfaction index of 124 compared with an industry average of 100. Apple computers have long been known for ease of use, but now with their focus on mobility, Apple intends to bring a new dimension to the concept of ease of use.
Well, everything that we've done at Apple since the company was founded has focused around making the computer easy to use. For a simple reason, computers weren't easy to use. And now that we're finding that we can make the machines easier to use, we have a much more compelling issue at hand, and that is, how do we make it easy to do the things you want to be able to do, and to be able to customize it enough so it will do exactly what you want to be able to do.
The concept of ease of doing has been a contributing factor to the success of Apple's PowerBook, which is not only the nation's most popular laptop computer, but may well be the fastest-selling new computer of all time. In less than a year on America's lap, the PowerBook family generated more than $1 billion in revenue for Apple. PowerBooks are gaining popularity because they allow people to work anytime and anywhere.
It's so much easier with the Mac. Look at my account records. I mean, this is how we used to have to document every call. I mean, you can see, just going through with 300 accounts. So it's not just this one notebook. They're all piled up underneath here. And these are the account records. Stuff was spilled, the territory changed, different handwriting, our inventory records. They're a mess. With a notebook, I can have everything right at my fingertips. I don't have to worry about losing not only my day timer, but my sales sheets. Everything is in one spot.
The consulting business has some very special demands on the operations of a business. So you have the requirement to have portable analysis and also the need for communication.
Since we brought in the PowerBooks, I think our communications and our productivity have improved in a number of dimensions. I think first and foremost, we can now pull together information around the world because we've got these things networked. And so I can pull graphics from Paris and work with a guy in Holland and pull together proposals in probably, I'm guessing, a tenth the time, and put out a much better quality product.
Apple contends that their PowerBook has redefined the notebook computer, that it's not just a smaller version of a desktop PC.
You use a mobile computer very, very differently than you use a computer that you can only use when you're at your desk. And so we wanted to bring out these differences through the design of the PowerBook. One example, communications. Even though you're thousands and thousands of miles away from your desktop, you want to be in touch with your desktop computing environment. So we have a product called AppleTalk Remote Access, which lets you plug into a phone line anywhere in the world and get access to your local computing environment as if you were right there. Another example of mobile computing has to do with traveling about. You enter a new city. You're unfamiliar with the local terrain. What are the restaurants available? What are the business services available? A product called Local Expert gives you timely information on local maps, restaurants, business services, and other activities and services that are available to you on any city in the world.
Mobility was definitely in mind when Apple created the new DuoDock system. It gives the user both a powerful desktop system and a portable notebook computer all in one, and without the hassles of connecting and disconnecting cables.
So you can have this small, lightweight computer with you when you're traveling about, but when you get back to your office, you merely slide the Duo computer into the DuoDock, and now you have a complete desktop system. When you're ready to go off to a meeting or onto a trip, you merely push a button, and the computer knows that you're about to leave. It carefully saves away any documents you were working on, shuts down the system in an orderly fashion, and presents you with a very small, lightweight, powerful notebook computer.
Up to this point, we've talked about PowerBooks and personal digital assistants, or PDAs. But Apple's efforts to create this mobile world are not limited to hardware. During 1993, Apple will expand its information and communication services, which are known as Apple Online Services.
Apple already serves more than 50,000 subscribers in 52 countries through a service known as Apple Link, and the company is gearing up to aggressively grow its electronic services.
Well, especially if people are using mobile devices on the road, the service portion, information services and mail services, form an integral part of what we're providing to the customer. And so by having that coming from Apple, we can integrate it and provide a complete solutions. Electronic mail services are key for people on the road as well as at home to stay in touch with other people in their own business as well as customers. We also have other kinds of information that are related to supporting our products, comprehensive Apple support boards, as well as those of over 200 third parties that are of importance to our customers. Finally, there's a wide range of information services, news, weather, travel, and a lot of these information services are actually available by region. So if you want to find out what financial information is important in Asia versus the US, you have separate sections for that to get that information.
Apple and other leading American companies have formed a task force known as the Computer Systems Policy Project to pursue the formation and development of a national information infrastructure. The project is chaired by Apple's John Sculley.
Well, now we're in a global economy where time to market is important, where distances and time have been compressed. And so we need a new kind of infrastructure that will deal with the information-intensive economy that is ahead of us. And I believe that there is nothing more important in this nation's future in terms of infrastructure investment than the National Information Highway. And I might say that this is not something that we're asking the government to go invest in and build, but it really requires the private sector to make the investments. And the private sector will find the return on that investment because there are such wonderful opportunities for new kinds of businesses and opportunities to develop once that infrastructure is in place.
Despite the interdependence of a national information infrastructure and mobile computing devices, Apple contends that by the turn of the century, mobile systems could well be this company's largest business. Reporting from Cupertino, California, I'm Van King.
During John Sculley's first decade with Apple, the company has been transformed. Revenues have grown sevenfold to more than $7 billion. But that figure pales in comparison to what the future could hold for Apple. By some predictions, the emerging field of digital technology will be a multi-trillion-dollar industry by the year 2000. And as we've seen today, it's an industry in which Apple already occupies a leading position. That's it for this week's edition of Profiles of America. For all of us here, thanks for watching.